Good evening. It is a Monday night. It is the Daytrippers. It is the club. And we are live to you tonight in association with the Pitch Sport Football Fan App, giving the fans a voice. Get your free download on the App Store and Google Play Store. Tonight we've got in with us, we've got Gar. How's it going, Gar?
Hey, mate, you all right?
Yeah, good. Nice bit of memorabilia up there on the wall. Nice stuff. We've got a pair of Lawsons, which I think trumps a pair of aces. But anyway, a pair of Lawsons. We've got Seany FC. How are you doing, Seany?
I'm and Dicko, all right, mate?
Yeah, good. And we've got Paddy, fresh from his first ever Father's Day. How's it going, Paddy?
Not bad, Dicko, not bad. All good.
Excellent. Right, we are going to look back at the Merseyside Derby and the stalemate that was. And in fairness, has been at Goodison Park quite a few times over recent years. We've just managed to sneak a few results there with some memorable goals in games gone by. But we're going to look back at the game, Klopp selection. We're going to pick out a couple of players in Keita and Minamino who everyone was quite looking forward to seeing what they would produce. We'll get into the best goalkeeper in the world, and we'll look ahead to upcoming fixtures, obviously Palace and City, the big ones that lie ahead. And I think Seany has a few words to say on Jamie Carragher at some point throughout the next hour or so. So, look, it was kind of a bit of what we'd seen from other games. People not really knowing what to expect. We'd seen a bit from the Bundesliga, La Liga. We'd seen some early Premiership games, teams struggling to get into the stride. So in some ways, it was kind of what we should have expected. But one thing we mightn't have expected, Seany, I'll start with you, was the team. What was I was quite shocked, now before the game, especially with Robbo and Salah, integral parts not there. What was your initial thoughts when you seen it?
Yeah, I was shocked because, to be honest, my initial thought before the football came back and we seen the block of games and needing 2 wins, I was thinking maybe he's going to go full tilt for the first 3 games. And earlier during the week, last week, there was murmurings that Salah wasn't fit and he was going to be missing. But then Klopp said in the press conference that he had no issues with anyone and he expected everyone to fit. He wasn't going to rule anybody out. So I was thinking, geez, look, we're out of front 3. I think the only game that happened already this season was at Old Trafford, and I was thinking, do you know what? We still should have too much for this because look, we're 42 points ahead of everything in the table. So I was thinking we'd have too much for them. And then I was excited to see Minamino and Keita in the lineup. But it was a very disjointed performance, and I think it's kind of obvious why, without having to overanalyze it.
Yeah. Gar, one of the big surprises really was Joel Matip getting in ahead of Gomez. No one really saw that coming. What was your thoughts around that, particularly as we're essentially then making kind of 2 changes to the back 4, really?
I know Seany's just touched on a bit of it. A lot of it will come down to sports science, lads' training measures, the metrics that have gone in, the mileage lads have put up since they've been back. So, and the sports scientists will obviously communicate with Klopp, and he always says it in his interviews as well, doesn't he? He always alludes to the science guys, and I'm sure Matip's probably looks very good since he's come back training. In fairness to him, didn't think he did nothing wrong yesterday. I think it was the later substitutions that put the skids in a bit, but anyway, that's probably for a later discussion. Anyway, to me, it comes down to sports science. It comes down to, as Seany said, you would have thought it had gone all out and got the points in the bag, and then played around from there. Just the loss of Robbo and Salah really upset the structure and how we play. The fulcrum wasn't right. It was really strange, like, to watch at times.
Yeah, I mean, the irony obviously is that Matip ends up, getting an injury. He's been someone who has been injury prone at times throughout his Liverpool career, and the fact that he goes from, obviously something showed that Matip is ahead of Gomez, and it's actually Matip who goes off injured, which kind of it's a bit of a strange one, really, in some ways. But Paddy, someone's just come in there with a comment, Jono, just saying, we should be going with our full strength side, basically, to get this job done, and then start thinking about rotation. Klopp's approach to me seems to be that he's taken this in a kind of cautious way, particularly given Everton a little bit of respect, I thought, as well, in some ways there yesterday. Look, we've learned to trust Klopp at this point, and trust that the people behind the scenes are feeding into his decision making, and it all works out in the end. Like, are you fairly comfortable with the fact that we won't necessarily we mightn't even see full strength against Palace on Wednesday necessarily?
The only thing we could look at from looking at the game the other day is, could Milner have been carrying something into the game to cover for Robertson anyway, and that's why probably Gomez didn't start as to come in for cover for Milner if he started Matip and obviously Virgil centre half. But looking, like, a lot of people would say, the last couple of derbies have been kind of a stalemate, as you're saying earlier on. It's always a last minute goal that kind of turns the tide either way. Same at Liverpool United games. It's touchy-feely kind of game, and it's always a last-minute winner, or it's either cagey or it's all one-sided. And I think yesterday showed it was a multitude of things. No fans is a big factor for Everton and Liverpool, of course. But I think it's as we're saying, the sports science side comes into it, and it's more down to players. Like, basically, they've been doing yoga for 13 weeks in their houses and not being out full tilt, which is kind of, it's for the likes of Keita and Minamino and stuff like that. Like, Keita needs, as Shani was saying, he needs a run of games to get going, and that's his biggest test as a Liverpool player coming up. But I don't think we'll see a full strength side till we get to City. And if it all comes down to it that we need to win at City, I think you'll see all the big guns out, as he'd say. Not saying that Keita didn't hold his own and Minamino was whipped off after 50 odd minutes, and I think that's down to sports science. But again, as we were saying, like, I'd always trust what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what's being said or who's doing what, but I think people need to realise they need to trust this manager and everything that's going on behind the scenes, and they're doing what's best for the club. They see the players day in, day out, and they put out the best 11 on the day. We've seen highlights of the behind closed doors game against Blackburn. Apparently Minamino and Keita were unplayable, so that has to bow it into it as well. And we were hearing that Salah had a knock during the week and he mightn't start. So listen, we're to build on next year. Now I'm jumping ahead, but to build on next year, you need to blood these lads in, and it's a couple of games that have to be done. So look, there's no better place to do that in a derby with no atmosphere. And let's be honest, Everton, they weren't brilliant, but they've done their job. They've done what they had to do, and they got the result at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you touched there on the atmosphere. Obviously, that's a big factor. Phil was alluding to it last week when we spoke and we were doing the preview, that actually by Everton not having fans in the stadium might actually do them a bit of a favour, Shawnee, in terms of the approach. One thing they did lay on for us, though, was a beautiful porter cabin, top of the range, no expense spared. It's probably up there with the expense of the cladding to block out the view of the new main stand. Yeah. What did you make of the whole kind of atmosphereless game and experience? Now as a Liverpool fan, we've seen it with other teams. What was it like? How did it affect your viewing?
See, I've been watching the football since I came back in, like with the Bundesliga, and with the sound off now, I find that it's nearly unwatchable. Like the fake set crowd sounds don't mind me. But one thing I noticed was the teams with the more technical ability and quality would just bowl over teams no matter where they played. And to be honest, that's sort of how I expected it to play out yesterday. But if we're being honest, I actually think I thought everything were good yesterday. I thought they were very, very well set up, well drilled. They looked like an Ancelotti team yesterday for the first time that I'd seen them. They were difficult to play against. And then in the end, they nearly snatched a win off us, akin to how Ancelotti done it when he was managing Napoli. If I'm being hypercritical, the biggest takeaway yesterday for me was that screamed to me yesterday what we need to do in the summer in terms of incomings, because not having a naturally left-sided cover for Robertson killed us yesterday. It really did. Now, I don't mind Minamino playing out wide because I know he did it quite a bit at Salzburg, and he's a different type of wide player to Mo Salah. But so much of our play comes from the fullbacks, and Trent yesterday, everything we're able to double up on him because we hadn't got a right winger who was pinning their fullback to the corner. Whereas I think Holgate and the Digne were able to just block Trent completely. But the big facet of Trent's play is that switch ball that he can do. But Milner wasn't there. So we hadn't got that outlet. And that's how we stretch teams. You find us stretching teams all the time with that diag into play. If you look back at the game in Anfield, I think 3 of our goals came from that in the first half. Yeah. Trent just doing that diag and killing them. But that ball wasn't on for him all day. So he had to go short and go inside. So we do seem a little bit one-dimensional. And the other areas that are...
we lost Seany there mid-flow. We'll catch back up with you in a little while. Gar, I mean, what I guess what Seany was getting at there was the disruption. The fact that we've got a formula that's kind of tried and tested at this stage and is kind of almost as reliable on anything as as relies on as the fullbacks as much as anything. Once one of those two is out the picture, it changes a lot, doesn't it?
Huge, you're right. You saw in regards of, I suppose, left full Milner. You know, he is what he is. Let's be honest here. You saw with Salah missing yesterday, we were really different in the way our front three approached the game. Minamino was different. He was dropping in centrally a lot. You know, as a boy, you know, there was a lot of talk. I think someone who you're going to talk about later on mentioned that, you know, our front three play very narrow at times. But if you look at a lot of our games, they're often that you'll find Mane or Salah really, really wide. And the reason being, now listen, you know, Carragher's played professionally, but the reason being they pull wide is you're going to pull the fullbacks out straight away. You're going to upset the shape of a team. So you're going to get little divots in there for either crosses to go in, or you're going to get the midfield popping in there to play a ball in. You know, Firmino's role within that system when we do pull fullbacks out as well is so crucial. And yesterday when he was getting on the ball, it seemed like there was no one available. It seemed like there was no one on that wavelength to him. I thought Keita and Minamino were good. Got on the ball a bit, but nothing ever happened when we got into that final third. And we know Minamino had a shot that went wide, but nothing really happened. There was nothing, you know, there was nothing elusive from us up that front. You know, Firmino probably should score that chance he goes through it, or lay it off to his left hand side. But yes, I don't know. Seany wants to talk about Carragher. He after that pre-match interview, he did talk about us being very narrow on our front three a lot. But we're not always narrow. The two front three, Salah and Mane, generally go a lot wide to give us gaps centrally, or as we said, for Robertson and Trent to whip in crosses, and a lot of them crosses are very low crosses at times as well. Don't forget, because we don't get a lot of headed goals from them.
Yeah, I mean it was disjointed, but I suppose the two players that everyone was looking out for, Paddy, was Keita and Minamino, because you know there's an element of this being a pre-season to some extent because of the fact that you know we will get there by hook or by crook. Just a case of how many games it's going to take. So a lot of the focus on the fans is going to be on some of these players that were looking to make a contribution. Did one of them stand out more for you than the other, would you say, or were they kind of much of a muchness?
I'd seen a couple of shouts going around for Keita as man of the match. I thought that was a bit much, but however, I thought he was decent on the ball, a bit bright. I thought Minamino was trying to get himself involved, but I don't think obviously the occasion didn't get to them. But I think if the crowd was there, I don't think you would have seen either of them if everyone was fit. They didn't really stand out. I thought Minamino did very well to win the ball back for one of the chances we had. That I think Bobby should have rolled out the Kate on the outside or Firmino, one or the other, and he just snapped at the shot. It is kind of good in a way that we have these games to bed these lads in and to give them a proper goal. Like, I know it's not full tempo, but they are still Premier League games, and everyone is saying it is a glorified pre-season. But looking at them yesterday, they look like they're up to doing the hard yards, as they call it, and getting involved. And like the big gulf that everyone talks about, people dropping off if one of the front three isn't there, or dropping down to the likes of Origi and Shaqiri, and Minamino seems to be a little bit a step above them too. I know Origi has scored some very important goals for us and stuff like that, but that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to build to get players into the squad and make the squad bigger. As the lads were saying in the WhatsApp group earlier on, City's bench is just outrageous. And
it is. Yeah.
As Shani was saying earlier on the WhatsApp, if City get banned out of Europe and they're not in the Carabao Cup or whatever it is, they'll just be playing one game a week next year.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a full strength City squad with that bench? Now I know we're talking about City, but like, this is what we're getting at here. Is we need, as Shani was saying before he got rudely interrupted, it shows the gulf in what we need to improve on for next season and what we need to bring in. I think we've done the right thing in getting Minamino in and Keita, and it's about getting them up to strength and keeping Keita fit if he's going to be in around the squad, and getting Lovren out the door and getting another centre half as backup.
Right, can I just add to what I was saying? I think
Gar sorted it for you, but go on, we'll let you go.
It's horses for courses kind of thing. Like, what it did yesterday a little bit is made me think about Timo Werner again. Like, how perfect of an alternative he would have been, because we have no like for Salah or Mane. Like, Origi is a different type of player to both of them, and Minamino is a different type of player to both of them as well. We need someone who can get in behind, and Werner would have been absolutely perfect for us. So we do need someone of that ilk who can get behind defenses like that, just to give us that option so we don't miss it. Like, this is going all the way back to the final in Kiev, when Salah went off in Kiev.
Yeah,
we completely lost our offensive shape.
Yeah,
now,
I think what we've got to remember as well is that just to go back to what Paddy was saying there about next season, we're not going to be able to get away with draws, too many 0-0 draws next season. We're gonna have to be able. Now, we've done it brilliantly this season. You know, Klopp's become a master of finding the answers to the problems, particularly through the course of a game. But if you don't have the players to come, off the bench, we are going to drop points. And I think, the bar will be back in the 90s next season, most definitely, if you want to retain that league. So I think you've got a good point, Shawnee, in saying that, losing Timo Werner now asks some serious questions about what business we're going to be prepared to do in the summer.
And it's like, City won't drop off. I know it looks like they are going to lose Sané, and I wouldn't look at anyone else, because to win you need the top centre half and a goalkeeper, and I don't think anyone else in the league, bar ourselves in City, have that.
Yeah.
Keita brought a little bit of something different yesterday, because let's be honest, like, it's not a drag on the three boys that play in the midfield. I know Twitter goes mad with the style of midfielder that we play, but we play with 3 yard dogs in the middle. Now, they're all technically have ability, and Keita gives us that little bit something different. He does break the lines and get forward and try push the game on, but we just we're going to, like, every year since Klopp come in, the squad has evolved in some way or another, whether it's game management, whether it's Alisson and Van Dijk coming in, whether it's just being more savvy to game situations. I think we'll need to evolve again next year if we're going to go on and be successful again.
Yeah. I mean, Gar, the other aspect of this now is that that was one disappointing performance, should we say, one disappointing result in some respects, because, you know, you kind of think you should be able to beat Everton. But at the same time, we've got some tricky fixtures ahead, haven't we? We've got Palace coming up, we've got City coming up. So how do you see this in terms of team selection playing out? Do you expect still to see plenty of minutes for the likes of Keita and Minamino, or do you think he tries to just get this thing done now, having kind of experimented to some extent in that first game?
Yeah, I think yesterday was your game to play around with if you did any of them, because Palace have been very, very good, lads. Let's not forget pre-COVID, and obviously you got a good result the other day. They're very, very well set up. As I suppose, and Shawnee touched on it earlier, we're not giving Everton the credit that, you know, they should have got yesterday. They were really good in their shape, in what they did, and Shawnee touched on the Napoli thing as well. They came out late and they could have got a winner for it, you know. So they did what they wanted to do yesterday. And Palace will be a bit more rigid like that, but a bit more pace on the flanks as well. Let's not forget. So I see him going back probably as strong as possible for the next two games. I think the City one is nailed on. We know Klopp will revert in big games. He generally, you know, let's not dismiss it. Everton is usually a big game, but for City, I see him going as strong as possible. And I think you'll see his midfield three in there. There'll be no playing around there.
Yeah. Just back towards
sports science, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, just getting back to the back end of the game. In some respects, the last 20 games had a lot more talking points than the first 70. And not really for the right reasons. I mean, obviously Everton get themselves in some positions to win the game. And, you know, we've mentioned Carragher a couple of times. I mean, he thought at the end that Everton deserved the 3 points. I thought that was a bit of a stretch personally. But what we did have was the best goalkeeper in the world back between the sticks. And yet again, he's proved his worth there. I mean, for me, it's that combination again of I've got to somehow be perfect to beat this fella. And I'm talking more about the rebound from Tom Davies, and obviously Gomez gets the nick. But I think Alisson's in his head. I mean, how big is it to have this fella back, Paddy?
I think it's actually monumental that he's back, and it's good to see him back. I think the challenge from Gomez does take it away from goal as well. But I think that you can now even see it in the back four when he's behind him, the calmness that's in there. And it's just like there's another barrier behind them. I know the back four are solid and that they've been outstanding this year. But he gives that little bit of solidity as well behind them. And obviously we can't hear because of the crowd noise filtered in. But I can imagine if there wasn't crowd noises filtered in, you'd hear him screaming and giving a lot of direction, as much as Van Dijk and Henderson. Myself and Sean were watching the game yesterday, and we were only saying that Henderson was bollocking people out of it. Henderson looked up the scratch out of anybody out of first 11. Look on it. He looked like he was pushing players around and trying to get around the pitch and make us go to another level. But like, if you compare Alisson to Jurassic Park, Jordan Pickford, Little Arms, like, it was night and day. Like, even at one stage, Pickford just started launching the ball 70 yards up the pitch to no one. And like, in fairness, like, Alisson's distribution is a different level, but like, we see that we have probably the best keeper in the world at our disposal now, and when we don't have him, it's a cog out of a well-oiled machine. Same with Robertson missing, or Van Dijk, or Matip, or Gomez, or Trent missing. It's a back five that is doing really, really well at the moment, and if one part is missing, it's not up to 100% like it normally is, and we've seen that in the Atletico game. One slip of concentration and it's game over at the top level. And if it wasn't for Alisson yesterday, I think the same thing. I think I can't remember who had a shot in the 6-yard box and bounced it straight off him in the 6-yard box. Doesn't look like much, but he has to be in the right position for it to bounce off him. So I think yesterday showed again that he is number one for a reason, and he is top class.
Yeah, I mean, it was going through my mind in the first half in particular, like that. He was just, he had nothing to do, you know. He was, you could see him kind of, you know, just kind of, he wants to get involved. You could tell he wants to get involved. You could tell he was ready to pull off a save at any moment. It's just something about him, isn't it? When you've got that behind you, you just know that, you know, that it's almost going to have to be the perfect shot to go and goal. And to be fair to Everton, I think they've got their DVD cover now of Tom Davis hitting the post season. That'll make their DVD. So that was as close as they got. But for me, a lot of what was going on in those last 15 minutes was a direct result of Dejan Lovren being on the pitch. And I know, you know, this isn't about kind of singling fellas out, but sometimes you just got to call a spade and you know, not pussyfoot around what was going on in front of your eyes.
Not good enough.
But his efforts to try and recover a mistake just gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, when he was put on his arse there, it was just complete embarrassment. I mean, Seany, I mean, what does this fella have to do to learn like that? He just needs to do the basics. Just stick to the basics.
It's mad, because if you'd have thrown Keanu Hoover in there yesterday and he played like that, he could be excused. You know what I mean? He's a young lad trying to impress.
I don't think he would do that, though. I don't think any young player would do what Lovren did.
Dejan Lovren, I think he must nearly have 100 caps for Croatia. He's played numerous amount of top clubs around Europe.
World Cup final. Yeah, in a World Cup final.
He, as a centre half, you don't have to go and win everything. You don't have to always challenge. Sometimes you just need to see out. From the day he signed for Liverpool, he has struggled with the likes of Ashley Barnes, Chris Woods. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has given him problems at Anfield when he's playing for Everton. They just targeted him. He come on, I think, around 70-minute mark, and everything was thrown down that left side. And it was diabolical. That right-hand side, he was diabolical. You seen at Watford, Bambi on ice. I called time on Lovren last year against Newcastle. It was probably the worst centre-half performance I've seen from a Liverpool player ever. Van Dijk basically played centre-back on his own that day. He killed us. He causes panic. He just causes panic wherever he goes. He's the last remnants of Rodgers' Liverpool on this side for me. He's the last skeleton in the closet. And he has to go. I don't give a bollock when people say, oh, he's fourth-choice centre-half. Well, put it this way. He's fourth-choice centre-half. We nearly finished that game yesterday where all four centre-halves on the pitch.
Yeah.
Three of our four centre-halves were on the pitch come 90 minutes yesterday. That's the problem. It's not a quality issue, I don't think. It's a personnel issue at centre-back that we have, because Gomez has been unlucky with impact injuries, and Matip strikes me as the type of fella who won't play if he has any sort of niggle. And Lovren is another one who he goes off for a niggle and he's out for 7 or 8 weeks. They're not dependable. They're just not dependable. And we're lucky. We'll go back. You just go back. Forget about Van Dijk. Well, luckily we have Alisson behind them, because if you manage to beat one of the centre halves in the battle, then you have to have the wit to go and do Alisson in the net. And 9 times out of 10, Alisson makes it look easy. But as far as Lovren, he's a lost cause. He's well past the sell-by date as far as Liverpool goes. I don't think he can be helped, to be honest. Hopefully we see him moved on in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost gone previously, and it just... You're right, what you're saying there, Seany, four-choice centre back, but at the end of the day, that means law of averages, he's going to have some kind of appearance and potential negative impact in about 8 to 10 games realistically in a season, and that's just with the small margins I think we'll have to continue to operate on next season.
If that's a kid in schoolboy football, right? You're getting rid of that kid.
Yeah.
I'm not being bad here, but you're going to replace him. End the story.
Yeah.
You might even look to the age group below you if you can't sign the player to see if there's a better player to bring in.
Yeah, you're looking at
stuck. It's not good enough. It's not good enough for where we're at and where we want to go. And we've got fitness issues, as Seany's just touched on, with 2 of our centre halves that are supposedly ahead of him. You can't rely on this guy.
Yeah.
And it's been shown time and time again. Yesterday, there's 2 times, and he's watching a ball coming through the air. He's not even watching the player in front of him and Calvert-Lewin, and he runs into him and he falls. Look, that's ludicrous.
Yeah, I know.
This guy is playing years of professional football. It's just not right.
But you can come on with 5 minutes to go and give away 2 dangerous free kicks.
It's just not right. It's not right at all, mate. It's beyond. This guy needs to go. And I'm not telling Klopp how to do his job, but surely there's a kid in there who can do a better job than that.
Yeah, he is literally I think Seany makes a great point. He is literally that last player who has. We've had a few of them down the years. And we've moved him on. He's the last one that's a real problem. We can talk and debate about Henderson. We can talk and debate about Keita. We can talk and debate about Minamino, various players, but not players who have such a negative impact to the game, who can basically cost us a game. He's probably the one left.
Sorry, Dicko, I tell you how bad it is. When you see his name on a team sheet, you say to yourself, fuck me, we're in for a long 90 minutes here if he starts. Yeah. And that's I know we try not to fucking downgrade Liverpool players and all, but when you see his name on a team sheet, you put your head down and say, fuck me, this is gonna be a long night. And other teams come to Anfield, or we play them away, they see his name on the team sheet and they rub their hands and say, lovely, this fucking Egypt's playing. Don't mind going near Van Dijk. Let's pull over to this fucking Egypt and get a bit of joy out of him. And that's exactly what happens anytime you play anyone.
Yeah, it does need to be addressed, because you're thinking there, people are always going on off with an injury, a long-term injury to one of the wide players. We'd struggle. That's true. We're fairly stacked in midfield. But I think every season since Klopp's come in, there's been a period of games where we've been absolutely fucked at centre-back. I think it was 17, 18, Genie Wijnaldum played centre-back away to Brighton.
In the back three,
There was ages last year where Fabinho went in at centre-back. And even at
before this that, we've had Chan playing centre-back. It happens quite regularly.
Around Christmas time this year, we were slim pickings. When we went to the Club World Cup, Henderson played centre-back in the first game. So that's a persistent issue. It needs to be looked at. And we don't need to spend mad money. There's people throwing names in there, the likes of Ake and all. You look at Yang Batongan is out of contract next month.
Yeah.
You can't tell me if Yang Batongan won't come and play for Liverpool as a backup, where he can cover left back and centre back. It's just about being clever. We need to move Lovren on, because the money he's on, and with COVID, I think it could be. And Klopp will use him if he's there. That's the thing.
Yeah. You could probably write a list of even centre backs in the Premier League. You could write a list of 10 quite quickly who would be upgrades on Lovren as a fourth.
Shane Duffy off Yo could be an upgrade on Lovren. And that's no disrespect.
That's the level. Duffy. Yeah, but that's the level where you.
Well, Shane Duffy's real bust, and he'd be in beside Van Dijk, and Van Dijk could probably bring him on as a centre half. But Duffy doesn't he's a big lug, but he just doesn't.
I'd have Clavan back. Quicker than Lovren. I'm not even joking.
I agree with Seany. Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm not even joking. Honest to God.
It's mad.
Because Clavan is not going to pull up any trees, but he's not going to fucking sell down the river at some stage. If you put
he's
Clavan,
not a brain fart, Seany. His position is really good. Yeah.
He's capable. He's able to do his job. Lovren just blows my mind.
Yeah.
People talk about being a front-footed centre half. He's fucking he's over 30. He should have bags of training from himself at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, look, we moved Moreno on, and that was kind of like our second last kind of problem child. This really is down to the last one now at this stage. So yeah, look, I think for me overall it was disappointing because we had, the anticipation of coming back. I guess we should have been a little bit more pragmatic in some of our thoughts on this. Everton is never an easy proposition. The one thing I think some of you have touched on it there in summarising the game. Ancelotti, he's given us problems at Napoli, and for me, next season, those two games against Everton are going to be tricky. Coming out with 4 points next season mightn't be a bad thing in the final analysis. So I think certainly he's going to provide us in the years to come with a much sterner test, assuming he sticks around for a few years. So I think the Merseyside Derby is going to be a bit of a tricky one for the next few seasons. I don't think we're going to necessarily have it all our own way. So that's Everton. That's some of the performances, some of the okay ones. I think the goalkeeper for me was a bit of a standout because he as usual, he stands up. We know the player who made the biggest negative impact on the pitch. But we'll move on to Wednesday. This now. We've seen City tonight. We've seen they've closed the gap by 5 points, down to a mere 20. Am I right saying it's a mere 20?
20, yeah.
Okay, so there's going to be a few nervous people out there. Probably not any of us around here. But Palace now, they come off a good result. They're the last team to have won at Anfield. They've given us a few scares. We've had some, bad times at Selhurst Park. What are you expecting, Shawnee?
Expecting much of the same, pretty much the same type of game that we get off Palace all the time. I think Palace love the smell of themselves against us. They always feel like they can get a result, whether it's at Selhurst or Anfield. I think they're the last team to actually beat us at Anfield in the league. So there's always added incentive there, and they do have dangerous players. And look, Hodgson didn't work out at us, but the man is 70-odd years of age, and he's in football a very, very long time at the top level because he is a decent coach. And Wednesday is going to be a tough game. You think Wednesday under the lights at Anfield is a bit magic, but that mistake is gone. It's not there now. So we're betting on quality, and you just have to hope that we're a little bit sharper than we were yesterday. Look, this is all understandable. With 100 days of football, it's a full break we've had. So to expect us to be in top gear is maybe a bit naive, but we'll have to be on it on Wednesday to get a result.
And Paddy, the one thing I didn't appreciate, there's a few teams who've really got nothing to play for, but Palace have got something to play for. They're actually within touching distance of a potential Champions League place. Teams ahead of them aren't necessarily the strongest. 4 points off a potential Champions League spot. They're dangerous opponents, aren't they?
Palace, well, in recent years, obviously since the game we won't talk about, have become bolted like years ago. No matter what team we have or whatever, they just seem to turn up when they play us. They just your man Jordan Ayew turns into fucking Pele up top, and Benteke turns into Drogba, and it's just it's in fairness, as Johnny's saying, Hodgson is a good coach and they're a well drilled team, and we seen yesterday that Everton were well drilled. Everton obviously have been working on the training ground, and there's 9 men behind the ball and trying to disrupt how we played and cut off the channels and stuff like that. And Palace won't be far off that. But the difference that Palace have is Palace are decent, are a very, very good side. Wouldn't be far off the likes of United and Spurs in that regard as to how good they can play football and how quick they can turn it around. Benteke is a big lad, big, powerful, strong lad. Oyu is very, very, very good player on his day, as I said. And it's just about, on the day, we just have to turn up and get the job done. Like, Zaha can be hit and miss when he turns up. It's just, it's down to, it is down to us. It's down to, obviously, the players' attitudes won't change. But let's be honest, 100 days without playing ball. If it had been the season had kept rolling on the way it was rolling, I think we would have steamrolled Everton in front of our home fans. I think we would have steamrolled Palace at home in front of air fans going for the league. I think it would be a totally different ball game as such. But I think credit where credit is due. Palace are looking good, and I wouldn't begrudge them if they got into the top 5 or stayed in the Europa spots. But it's just, to be honest, it's about us getting the job done and getting it over the line and getting this win, and then going to City and not dismissing Palace, but there's a job to be done. We didn't do the job yesterday, but there is seriously a job has to be done against Palace at home to get us onto the next stage of playing City. Because let's be honest, if we don't get a result against City or against Palace, and then we have to go play City, we put out again for another couple of games, and then not that there's much pressure on the squad because we're so far ahead, but you have to feel it. You only had to win 2 games to get the whole job done. Now you've drew 1 and you've drew another. Doesn't bode well. City are still putting teams to the sword as such. But like as you're saying, as Shani said, the mystical feeling of playing under the lights of Anfield on a Wednesday night doesn't bode. You could be playing in Brickfield Park under the lights and it's still 11 against 11 on the pitch.
Yeah.
But again, it's down to 11 v 11, and hopefully Mo's back, Robertson is back, and we see a full strength 11 kick on.
Yeah, God, the thing is, I mean, we're down to 20 points now, yeah? I mean, think of a scenario whereby, say we draw against Palace and then we go to City and lose and it's down to 15 points. We don't really want to start having this thing drag out, onto Villa, then beyond that to Brighton, then on, we just don't really want to go down that path. So for you, is Wednesday purely about the result now and not necessarily about performances?
100%, yeah. You've just touched on something there in regards to psychological things. We've had a loss, we've then gone on to and albeit it was Atletico, then we've come into a draw yesterday, through the break, which is no fault of anyone's, in fairness. And it's tough to get that intensity and back in. But then if we don't get a result on Wednesday night, psychologically, these things will chip away at players, from amateur to pros. It happens. It's life. And you just hope that obviously Klopp and all his team, work on. Listen, it doesn't have to be a flashy performance on Wednesday. A 1-0 win would do me. Get that 3 points in the bag. The players gain a bit of confidence from that, and then go into City. You lose on Wednesday, and you're a bit, the head starts going slightly, and
we only need 5 points. We only need 5 points.
Yeah, I know, Shawnee, but you just talk about, just little psychological things, and it is 5 points, but you don't want to, getting shitty results for the next few games, and it's playing the whole.
They're going on about our last few games. The performance against Atletico at Anfield is probably our best performance of the season.
Yeah.
It was a great performance.
The keeper killed us.
Exactly. Oblak was brilliant. Adrian wasn't. That was the difference, and you get punished at that level. Let's not get dragged into this thinking that it's some sort of, because that's what the media will do. They will. Someone said earlier, the media will use this as a platform to build City up going into next season. Because they were already doing it yesterday. Carragher was talking a whole load of shit yesterday.
Tyler, again, at a Shawnee 3 or 4 times within the space of 20 minutes, all he spoke about was
how complicated it was getting.
Yeah.
And I said it before I come on stream, as fucking stupid as this sound, I don't think Klopp gives a bollocks about Premier League 19-20 anymore, because he knows it's up and he's using it to get the jump on the next season. And it's as simple as that. It's 5 points. Unless the whole fucking squad comes down with COVID and we end up with me being Kelleher, I'm not going to start worrying.
Yeah, someone's just come in and said 15 points ahead versus Villa. I'd take that. I think we want it done. Surely we want it done before we have to take the pitch against Villa. I mean, the thing, the permutations are that if we beat Palace on Wednesday, then essentially we go into the City game just needing a draw to win the title. That's kind of how that would all shake down. So I think for us to just get a bit of mojo back, I think we do need to get these 3 points on Wednesday, and then I think the narrative gets nipped in the bud, because I think the longer this drags out, not only the narrative about this season, but the narrative about next season will start to build, because I do think this kind of 9 games or 10 games in City's case is better suited to their squad and what they can do. And especially as they've got to build momentum around trying to win the FA Cup, trying to win the Champions League and all that sort of stuff. Whereas our eyes are firmly on getting 6 points and just completely, fixating ourselves on what the new season is going to be all about. But if we look specifically at, I guess, the rest of the league, how that's sort of shaping up. Any surprises from you, Shawnee, so far about what you've seen on the games, the teams that have come back? I mean, in terms of, say, United, Spurs, Arsenal. What's your wider view?
I've been surprised by Sheffield since they come back. I think I didn't expect them to fall off, and I surprised but not surprised at the same time at just how good Wolves are. I think Wolves are fucking brilliant, and I'd have them ahead of anyone else there to whip that fourth spot off Chelsea, because they're so well managed. We've seen a few managers get these 5 subs wrong. To be honest, go back to yesterday, I think Klopp got the subs wrong yesterday, but I think his hand was forced a little bit with injuries. But with the league, they can break you down. Wolves can break you down for 70 minutes, and then they can bring the likes of Neto and Traore off the bench, and you're toast. And I think the fact that they'll be playing Europa League in August is massive for them. They have a solid defence. They have goals. They have a solid midfield. Wolves are fucking brilliant. I'm just delighted we've played them twice, because that would have been a nightmare of a game to have to play them.
It'd have been tricky to have them on the upcoming games, definitely. Yeah. How do you think Champions League's going to shake down, Paddy? I mean, Chelsea got off to a shaky start. Now they've got to play City. They could be dragged back into the pack. Do you think Champions League is still kind of up for grabs? Your mute, Pads.
Out of all the teams I've seen, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, United, I think Arsenal are by far, won't even talk about them. They're that bad. They're just Arsenal have gone backwards, no direction. Spurs look sluggish and leaderless, and I think it's down from the top. I think Harry Kane is probably the biggest thorn in Spurs' side after Jose Mourinho. I think it's my personal opinion that Kane is finished. I've had it. Shani has said it as well. Just looks like he can't run. Just the chap looks like he's lost a yard of pace. 26 years, 27 years of age, looks finished. United are looking decent, and I don't know people won't mind me saying that, but they're nowhere near the finished article. I think, as we said on this 100 times before, I think stuff behind closed doors at Man United is starting to spill out onto the pitch and stuff like that. Players not happy and players on big wages and stuff like that. Out of all the teams, I think Chelsea have the best chance of getting somewhere, because they're starting to gel. Young team, young manager, a little bit about them with the likes of Giroud. Giroud is quality, and I think if he was still at Arsenal, I think he'd be a big help to what Arsenal need. But again, as Shani said, Wolves are looking decent, and they won't begrudge them being up there, but it's still all up for grabs, and no one has really picking up the ball and ran with it. It's Liverpool, City, and the rest is just a mess when you look at the league. There's points to be got everywhere. Especially with this, with people's home advantage being nullified, it's even more so apparent now. So
I mean, one of the players who has impressed has been Bruno Fernandes for United. Gar, I mean, what have you made of him? I mean, he's one that we were obviously linked with, and some people would have been happy to see him arrive at Anfield. What's been your view on him?
I hate to say this, right, but I love him. Little cheeky dive the other night, but listen, if he does that in a Liverpool shirt, we get a pen off and we get 3 points out of a game, we're all cheering it. So it's easy for the press to jump on these things. There was a little thing on one of the matches days or whatever that we're trying to start something about the player, but he's quality, lads. There's no doubt about it. It looks like there's been no settling in period. He looks confident. He doesn't look too cocky. He's always shot. He seems to be always available for the ball, and that sets out the world class players from the average players. He's always got time on the ball. He's very dangerous. He's made United tick. Let's be honest, since he's come into that side. But I just go back to that Wolves thing that Seany spoke about, a well-oiled machine, so much variation in their style of play, can bang it wide, can bang it up top, can play the ball on the ground, have a lot of pace, have a lot of variation in their attacking style. And as a squad, they look the better squad if Chelsea go and lose to City now. What's a gap of 3 or 2 points, is it? To me, I wouldn't put it past Wolves getting into that, breaking into that. I like Chelsea under Lampard. They play really nice stuff. A couple of good young players in there, but they're still naive at times due to that. The younger lads, and listen, they have Kante and people in there as well to help them out. But to me, Wolves stand out, and I hope apart from Sheffield United, Wolves will be another will be one of them favourite sides that adopt any day. Great to watch, good manager, and seem to have some very, very decent players who you take any day in there.
And Seany, we've seen some teams down the bottom struggling this weekend. West Ham, Bournemouth. I mean, I was quite surprised with their lacklustre display, to be honest with you. I mean, that's going to be a fight till the end, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the bottom of the league from 4th to 6th, 7th is bottlenecked, and I think you can go from 20 from the bottom 5. It's bottlenecked as well. Norwich are done.
Yeah, definitely.
But Bournemouth are in massive trouble. I think Villa have actually been unlucky in both of their games because they played well for the first 70 against Chelsea and then fell apart. 2 quick-fire goals. They were unlucky or lucky at Sheffield, whatever way you want to put it. West Ham, I hope West Ham go.
Yeah, me too. Especially after all of the, all of the sort of tricks to try and get the thing voided.
If West Ham go down, they'll never come back up. It's a Sunderland job. I think there's loads of overheads at the club now, and they will be in massive trouble if they go down. And to be honest with you, I hope they fucking go down. I think Brighton, that's a big result for Brighton on the weekend. A bit of steel coming back from behind, a bit of controversy in the game. I really like Brighton's coach a lot. I like Graham Potter. I think he's a really good coach. Bournemouth are fucked. I think Norwich and Bournemouth are dead. I think if you go up from, it's between West Ham, Villa, and Watford, and I think it's a scrap there. I think Bournemouth just looks spent.
Yeah. Me and Seany had a little debate about Bournemouth and Brighton there a few weeks back, and I just think Bournemouth look banjo, lads. Looking at them yesterday, they look, and I know Seany pointed out the Brighton's fixtures, but that is a big, big win for them yesterday. A big win. And a good win in fairness, and your man went about it very well after the match. I thought, winding them up in fairness to him. But yeah, I think the bottom. I said it to you yesterday, right? I think the bottom 3 stays as is.
Yeah, so you still think
want West Ham to get down?
There's only a point. You still think Villa haven't got enough to get away from that? No.
there's just something about them that doesn't look right. Looking at the weekend, the way they play, that there's nothing to them. There's no substance to them, right?
The two easy just built Grealish.
Yeah,
and
100%. Yeah, you take them out of the game and they look devoid of any creation. I just think they're awful to watch.
Yeah, I'm just looking because I'm sure there's a big game on the last day of the season between two of those sides. It is West Ham Villa on the last game of the season,
and Chelsea as well. So the last day of the season could be fucking brilliant.
Yeah, the last day of the season that could be what Sky are looking for, a Champions League decider and a relegation decider, because I don't know. I think if Villa could stay within those 3 points of West Ham going there on the last day of the season, I think Villa could potentially pull it out of the hat, sort of thing. So, yeah, I mean, us to one side. There's still, I guess, plenty of things to be decided. So, look, we'll just come back before we wrap up. We're coming up to the hour mark, so we'll look to make some predictions for Wednesday in terms of the team and obviously in terms of the results. So, Shawnee, for you, changes in terms of the starting 11 on Wednesday night. What do you see as the starting 11?
It'll be Robertson hopefully back in. Van Dijk, Gomez, Trent. I'd drop Fabinho. I'd drop Henderson into the six, where he played so well for the majority of the season, and I'd go with Wijnaldum, Keita, and then the three lads up top.
Pretty much that's not far off full strength, really, is it? Basically,
I take Fabinho out because, to be honest, I just think he seems to struggle coming back from breaks. So to bring him on the last 30 of a game probably wouldn't be the worst thing to do. I'd rather drop Henderson into there because he looks like he hasn't his level hasn't changed at all, and it'd be unfair on Keita to drop him after his good 55 minutes in Goodison. I'd go with Wijnaldum, and then you just have to hope that the front three are all fit and ready to go.
Yeah. Paddy, if it came down to a choice of restoring Robertson and Trent, or it came as a choice between that or having Salah back in the front three, which of those two would you prefer to have, one or the other?
I'd rather Robinson and Trent in for the boys up top, because I think our attacks start from our fullbacks more so than anything else. I think the way as Sonny said, we move teams around, and the diagonal is a big thing for us. And don't forget, we are playing Palace, and Palace will press us. Like, they will put men behind the ball, but they will look to try and nick it off us in certain situations. So that outlet that has worked for us so well over the last season, our last two seasons, is something that sets up our attacks from the back. So personally, for me, I'd go with the lads at the back before I'd go with the lads at the front, because I think there's enough quality up there to get the job done in Firmino and Mane if Salah's not there, where I think there's not enough quality in the back to get us going, if that makes sense. I think, looking at the game the weekend, I think I'd have to agree with Shawnee. I don't think you leave out Keita, and I take Fabinho out. I leave Henderson in. If Robertson is fit, I start him. If not, put Gomez back in. But I just don't want Lovren anywhere near the oak. Leave him over in the container outside Everton's ground and let him get changed over there. Then I'm not playing again, saying it's a replay. But it's just it's for me. It's down to just trusting the manager, and he knows, as Johnny said, he has his eye on next season already, and blooding these lads in, as they call it, is probably his main priority, because this season is wrapped up. It's a formality. It's just a matter of when. So I'd like to see Naby start, Gini, Minamino, and Bobby and Mane up top, and back four if all the lads are fit, just the usual suspects. But I doubt it. I don't think, if Robertson is not even on the bench, I doubt he'd be fully fit after 4 days of rest. So unless it's just something he wanted to do and give him a full rest. But who knows? Who knows? We'll see on Wednesday.
Yeah. Gar, I seen a shout there just come in for Hendo, Genie and Ox as the three in midfield. I mean, I didn't think Ox looked too bad when he came on, actually. I think he comes on. Does he come on a half-time for Minamino? Does he?
Yeah.
So he gets 40, he shares a 45 minutes as well. So, I mean, what would you say around Ox starting on Wednesday?
I'm a big fan of Ox, but as Seany said, I think Kate he was good yesterday. He didn't have a lot in front of him at times. I thought in regards to space for players to break into from. I think he goes with Kate again. He seems to have run along that way. So I think he starts. I think I'd love to see Henderson. I thought Fabinho was slow at the start. Yes, he seemed to get into it, but we've seen him before the break stuck as well. He was poor, when that came again. So Henderson all day in there. I go with Seany's, and as you've touched on, your forward or your back line, and I take the back line all day. That's what sets the tone for us as a side at the moment, and our attacking full backs are world class. You have them in all day. They'll create chances all day for you.
Yeah. So, look, I mean, my theory in all this is that we're probably not going to see the proper 11, the first 11 lads until City, and he's going to give minutes to everyone in the meantime. I think he's gearing this all up for us to win this at the Etihad, and I think that's probably the most fitting way for us to win it now. So, what I'll ask you for is predictions for the game on Wednesday, and a prediction of the game where we clinch this league, Seany.
3-1 Wednesday.
3-1 to Liverpool or to Palace?
Towards Liverpool.
Just checking.
And I think we win at the Etihad.
Yeah.
I think the Etihad.
Yeah. And Paddy?
It would be great if Chelsea could get a result on Thursday and they had to clap us on.
That'd be brilliant.
I'm still not into this whole winning it when we're not playing malarkey. I want to see them out there.
No, don't give a bollocks. Just win it.
Just win it.
Just win it.
Back to me a month ago, how we would have been winning it off the back of a fucking Premier League statement to say that the league wasn't going ahead. So I don't give a bollocks now.
Yeah. No, I have to agree. Like, I couldn't care if we won in the Oilac Centre, as Gav does famous to say. But like, it'd be kind of demoralising to see the clap us onto the pitch in a way, because I think, remember they beat us in the FA Cup that time. Klopp made the players watch them lift the trophy, and it was kind of a little thing as if to say, when you lose, you have to watch the other team win, and it stays with you forever. Yeah. And I think that's something that would kind of be a little kick in the bollocks to Pep, saying you have to clap us onto the pitch. You had your season last year and you've won it by a point and stuff like that, but we've absolutely blitzed you out of the water here, and now we're getting our guard of honour out, because the teams have had to do it over the years for Manchester United and all. And Arsenal and City clapping Manchester United onto the pitch, so it'd be a fitting tribute for us to be clapped onto the pitch by Guardiola and the boys. Although they'd be probably gritting through that heat, giving out. But listen, I'll take it anywhere. I'll take it on the back of a 77A or in the Oilac. I don't give a shit. Just trophy me. See us next season, and good luck to us. So my prediction for Wednesday would be, I think we win 2-0 on Wednesday. I think it's Palace adding on the beach, as some people, as we were saying earlier on. I think Palace will come and play, and it'll suit us that they come and play. They won't sit behind the ball, and hopefully, if Chelsea get a result against City, which I don't see, I see us going to and winning it comfortably in City's ground. I don't think City will be up for it. I just think that City will have one eye on the Champions League whenever it gets going again, and they'll be like, let fucking Liverpool have that day and stuff like that. So that's the way I see it. So 2-0 at home to Palace and 2-0 away to City. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think the one thing we've got to remember by the time we get to play City, I think that'll be their 5th game back. because they'll have had obviously the game in hand, the cup game. So some of them players are probably going to start seeing the effects of playing those minutes, even though they've been doing a reasonable amount of rotation. So I'd be more confident of us going and winning at the Etihad than I would against Palace, in all honesty. But what's your prediction, Gar, for Wednesday night and when we're...
I'm going to go 3-1 with Seany. I think he's bang on. We gain a lot of confidence from that, and then I think we go into the City game look raging bulls. We become more intense. Hopefully, they pick up more injuries. Hopefully, Aguero's got a broken foot. But no, seriously, I think we'll gain a lot of confidence from beating Palace. We go into that like bulls, wanting to win it, wanting to end this all, and I think we win it from there.
Yeah. Okay, well, look, my prediction is that we will edge Palace out 2-1. By the way, it wouldn't surprise me if it ends up something like a 2-2 draw, but 2-1 will be my prediction. And then I think we'll go to City and we'll finish off the job and celebrate it. So when would that be again? It's a week on Wednesday, isn't it? It's a week on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Thursday,
isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it's on the Thursday, is it? Yeah.
8, 8:15 or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, we could have been champions. We could have actually been champions tonight if things would have gone in a different direction. But it's keeping us waiting. So all that's left for me to say is there is a competition that's running at the moment. There's 2 ways to win. You can follow 1892 Attire on Instagram. There are sponsors who are giving away a t-shirt in this competition, or you can follow the LFC Daytrippers on Hotmic using the invite code LFCDT. So we will be back with you next Monday for another club. Gav will be no doubt with you after the game on Wednesday night with Keith and maybe one other guest in all likelihood. So just for me to say thanks to the 2 Lawsons.
Thank you, Dicko. Cheers.
And thanks to Gar.
Thanks, lads.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
We've come to you live from the most exclusive bedrooms in Dublin tonight and my kitchen. So we will speak to you all next week.
Cheers.